Welcome to Leadership Live, Season 5.
Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Renita, and you are watching Leadership Live. And I am so excited to have you here with me today because you're amazing and you're awesome. And for those of you all who are like, oh, you are awesome too, you cute. I am. Hey. But who are you? I am Dr. Renita L. Webb, leadership strategist, and that simply means that I love to work with growing and inspiring leaders to become more authentic in their leadership, to empower their fellowship, and at the end of the day, have a greater impact on the world. How do I do that? Well, one of the ways I do it is that I'm a wife and a mother, and I feel like that helps me have a great impact on the world. And I am the mother of four children, two who I birthed and two who I say I own because I fed them for a really long time. Like I fed them for almost decades now. Right. So they're mine. They're mine. But that journey, that blending journey, led me to write my very first book, Stepmom, Trials, Tribulations, and Triumphs. And it became editions 1 and 2. I tell the story, the real story, with some tips and tricks along the way. I do. But my children also inspired me to write another book called While You Are Sleeping. It's the perfect children of all ages book. And I simply love it because I love them. And it's all about my thoughts, my dreams, my wonderings about my children while they're sleeping. Because guess what? My favorite time with my kids, most of the time, is when they sleep. Kids are sweet and precious no matter the age when they're sleeping. Even if they're snoring with their mouths wide open, it's still sweet. It's still sweet. I am also the authoress of The Case of the Unlikely Leader, The Real Cost to Be a Boss. And it's a book all about soft skills making a hard impact. And it's not just a book for you to read, it's a book for you to work through. It is a workbook, honey, and you will get it in. All of us need to hone our soft skills so that in times like these, we can be more effective with other people. You want to be a leader, you need to learn how to do people, right? You do. I have another friend to introduce you to you today, and I am so excited to have her. She is something like awesome and fabulous. Hello, somebody, and here she is, Dr. Veronica Sills. The crowd, y'all calm down.
Yes.
Oh,
I love it. I
hello,
love
gorgeous.
Hello, friend, gorgeous friend. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. You better work it in that purple, honey. You are giving the people what they need today,
Royalty. Giving them royalty.
all day and every day.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I am going to step away for a second and give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, and then we're going to get into what we're going to get into today. Go ahead.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Webb. I love you for giving me some opportunity and space with you here today. So, as she said, my name is Dr. Veronica Sills. I, first and foremost, am a child of God. I am a wife and a mother. My husband and I have been married for 17 wonderful years, and we have 3 kids together, 2 boys and a girl. And my family is my life. That is a huge part of my identity. I'm a New Jersey native and living the wonderful North Carolina life down here. Professionally, I'm an administrator in higher education in the field of human resources, serving as the Associate Vice Chancellor and Chief Human Resource Officer of the largest historically Black college in the nation, and love this space and opportunity that I have to serve people and do amazing work here in the professional setting. A double certified HR professional, a speaker, a trainer, a mentor, a leader in other spaces, not only in the professional realm, but also in the civic realm. And so many things that I have the opportunity to do, as well as be a part of family things. And so I'm a caretaker for my parents, because raising parents these days is something interesting. That's a new unpaid job that I have, raising my parents, and that's a big part of my identity as well. And I'm glad to be on this space and in this space with Dr. Webb. And so I want to turn it back over to her so we can have some conversation with y'all.
Want to hear more from Dr. Renita? Why don't you check out our books? The Case of the Unlikely Leader, The Real Cost to Be a Boss, and Stepmom, Trials, Tribulations, and Triumphs at www.drrenitawebb.com. So, I'm so excited about this topic. One, because building teams that thrive is a job all in itself. Team building,
Yeah.
team creation, team maintenance is an incredibly large task that not enough people pay enough attention to. But then breaking it down further and looking at the art of mentorship and succession planning, honey,
Mhm.
baby. And
Mhm.
I don't think people understand the freedom of succession planning. So I can't wait to get to that part of the conversation. But let's start off here. You are an HR professional. So not only are you an administrator in your organization, not only do you lead in your organization, but then
Mhm.
you're literally dealing every day, dealing with and dealing in the idea of human resources, which I don't
Mhm.
think that people really understand the breadth of what that entity really is. Could you break down for us what a human resource professional really is dealing with from day to day?
Yeah. So on paper, our job descriptions are going to tell you that we deal with processes and policies to keep people going. The reality is that we deal with people who help create culture that keep environments thriving. And
Mm,
so if you're in the world of human resources and you don't like people, you need a new opportunity. Right? We are we are in the people business, not just in human resources, but in higher education is the people business too, because we're in the business of developing traditionally young minds or non-traditional minds around how they thrive and contribute to the greater world.
mhm.
And so what I see as me and my team's role is finding people to help others who want to learn and grow and give back to the world, right? And so that means we're finding
Mm,
instructors and athletic coaches and trainers and counselors, right? We're finding people who create communities for those who want to grow in their knowledge and thrive, right? So we
right.
don't just hire, we don't just, pay people and all of those things. I think the other piece of what we do in human resources is we contribute to people's well being. Right.
Mhm.
And so, that my team will say, Dr. Sills don't take no mess. Dr. Sills want to make sure I do, because if we make a mistake, if we mess up, if we miss the mark, we are inevitably impacting someone's well being. Imagine if someone doesn't get paid, right? When most of America is one paycheck away from poverty, when somebody doesn't get paid, that's an impact on their well being. If someone's benefits don't start on time, that's an impact on their well being. If somebody doesn't have an opportunity to seek promotion and growth, that's an impact on their well being. So we have a big part of impacting well being. And then in the other things that we do in HR is we create environment and culture, right? We set, and I know those sound like cliche words these days, but the things that we do create the type of workplace or community or campus environment that people are like, I want to be a part of that. I want to join
Mhm.
in with that. I want to contribute to that. I want to help make that thrive and grow. And I want to bring people together in that space. So we set up guidelines, guardrails, opportunities for people to grow and thrive and to find their path. We set up flower beds for people to plant their seeds of knowledge in that they can grow in the future. So there's a lot of things that we do to allow people to just kind of leave parts of themselves that the larger community gets to benefit from it. And HR is not for the weak at heart. Again, you've got to be a person that is willing to deal with all kinds of layers of people. And I say that there's no other place in the work setting and then here in the university setting that we don't see people at both their best times and sometimes their most challenging times. And at any moment, you've got to be able to pivot and go, yes, let's celebrate you. Oh, let's help you through this challenge,
Mhm.
and still be able to deliver the kind of experience and support that people need so that they can feel like they can come out the best versions of themselves.
Oh, wow. Absolutely. So many layers, even just within that true description of what HR professionals really deal with. And I love the idea that you bring up that you are really molding the environment and culture of whatever organization that you are a part of.
Mhm.
And I think when we think about our favorite jobs or the favorite things that we've ever been a part of, or our least favorite, like the job we couldn't wait to get away from, like we got hired and tried to fire ourselves like the same day.
Child,
Uh, all of it really ends up coming down to environment and culture.
Yeah.
And cultivating that and creating the teams that sustain that is an incredible task.
Mhm.
And a lot of times when I think about environment and culture, I think of, where does this start? And I think about the leadership.
Mhm.
If your leadership is dead set on setting a culture that is highly competitive, backbiting, dog eat dog, if that's what they want, then your HR team is going to hire towards that. And that's what's going to be cultivated. And that's what is going to be prevalent in that environment.
Mhm.
If your leadership decides that they want, an environment where people feel comfortable and they can plant their own seeds and all kinds of things can grow, and they give opportunity for things to grow that may not have been in their original scope of thought, then
Mhm.
that's what you're going to get when you get to your HR professionals. And so when we're looking at leadership in spaces or being leaders in spaces, and you think about what you've seen and heard, because you've been in HR, since, HR was HR. Um, what in your leadership role within the leadership, where have you seen the most success, and then what type of leader was that in that space?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I want to double down on when you talk about culture and environment, but that third leg of the stool, which is leadership. I believe in team dynamic, and my staff will tell you here that I am 10 toes down for a team. But having been a former athlete, I played soccer for 25 years. I have coached, and you a team can't move without a leader helping it, right? Guiding or giving some inspiration, insight, vision. And so when I think about leadership that I've experienced, because it has led me, leadership that I'm leading, leadership that I am working with, um, I think about there's a couple of things that are critical that I've seen leaders be successful with, right? One, I've seen successful leaders who genuinely care about people,
Mhm.
genuinely care about people, hands down. I believe, and I have bought into, and that's why I believe that if you take care of the person will take care of you. I do
Mhm.
believe that. And so, and I just had, so one of the things I do is I do a one-on-one with all new members of my team. It doesn't matter whether you're the receptionist or you're my deputy. I do a one-on-one with all new members of the team. And I just had a one-on-one with a new staff member, and, they were explaining that they have kids, and I was like, and kids grow up fast, and this work will always be here. And so we got to talking about kids and traveling, and I found out so many things about them. And I'm like, well, when's the next time you're traveling? So you've got to be a lover of people. And so successful leaders that I have observed genuinely care about the person. And for someone as myself, who's in an executive leadership role as a Black woman in these times, who has kids and family and caretaker responsibilities, the leaders that I have had who have cared about that part of me have gotten all the best parts of me, right? Who have
Mhm.
given me space to be a wife and to be a mother and to be a caretaker. I have showed up for 10 times over, right? Because they have given me that space to be who I needed to be. Um, Other attributes of leadership that I have seen that have done very well are leaders who are inspirational, right?
Mhm.
Leaders who are thoughtfully inspirational, right? I think anybody can, like, kind of bring a couple of words to the table. You can say, oh, boom, empowerment and growth and thrive. Okay, but can you really inspire a movement when people speak? When you speak, do people listen? Are they really invested in what you have to say? And is what you have to say worth people listening to? And so leaders that have been very good visionaries and with that space have been, I think, have been phenomenal as leaders. And I think the leaders who know how to push change in innovative ways, right?
Mhm.
And not just push, but the pull of bringing people along. And so when you have a leader that cares about people, and you combine that with a leader that has vision, They are able to push almost any kind of change and pull people along the way with it because you have brought them in. You have tied into the depth of their soul. You have allowed them to capture into what you believe in. And now you can get them to move in the direction that you need them to go. It doesn't matter what kind of leaders you have. When they have, in my opinion, those three attributes, they tend to do very well with leading and growing and helping people to succeed, whether in a formalized or informal succession plan. And it's the leaders that don't do those things pretty well that you tend to see kind of struggle. Right, in some ways. It's the leaders who are self serving, who don't care about the people, who are only pushing the process, who really can't cast vision, and they can't. Nobody wants to follow somebody in the dark unless they know they're going to come out and see the light.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody's signing up for that. But people will follow you into the midnight if they know they will see light at the end of the tunnel with you. And they have to believe in you for that, and they have to know that you believe in them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that, it goes back to having a heart for people.
Hmm.
If you have a heart for people, it'll make it easier to do all these things. You'll care about people. You'll be able to inspire them because you'll know about them. You'll be able to change an innovative way. Also, if you have a heart for people, you won't be so worried about this was my thought, this was my thing. You can't do anything innovative if it's constantly just you, because you're going to run out of whatever you have.
Hmm.
If you're not interacting, if you're not connecting with other people, you're going to run out. Like it's going to be nothing else because it's just your bubble.
Right.
And it's that magic of being connected to other thoughts and other experiences that can create and leave space for that innovation. Like, oh, hold up. Wait, you said this and I said that. And did you hear her say that? Have y'all ever thought about this? It's this.
Hmm.
And now it can grow into this
Hmm.
new thing. And we all want the same thing. We're all pushing for XYZ change. But no
Right.
wonder we couldn't get there because we hadn't all thought about this new thing.
And I think that's a good point, right? Good leaders help connect the dots, right, for people, and where you're able to bring people from different places and spaces, and to your point, connect ideas and concepts that lead into actionable items. Good leaders help because if you've got good vision, right, then you can step back and see like, oh, look at all these pieces that go together. What do y'all think about this? And then look, good leaders give the people the credit for it, right?
Mm,
I can't connect dots that didn't exist. These your dots. These not my dots. I just stepped back and took a look, right? I think that's important for leaders to be able to do is to help people see where they connect the dots.
right. And giving credit where credit is due. That
Hmm.
I think that is one of those things that will help people go into the dark with you.
Hmm.
I know when I go in there, you're not going to get lost in yourself because you remembered me.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
about, and I take these to movies all the time, but I think about the movie Coco.
Hmm.
And the whole movie is about remembering those who were and came before and
Hmm.
not forgetting them.
Hmm.
Um, so they're their ideas that were and came before are coming now. And, it's easy to have those people on your work ofrenda where
Hmm.
you can have their pictures up or you have their thoughts up and they will be remembered because it's also providing those people to have a piece of the legacy.
That's right. That's right. I think I I believe that everybody wants to be a part of something bigger. Now, what that bigger is looks different for different people,
Right.
right? But I believe that everybody wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves, but they don't always know how to get there, right? And good leaders help people see the best parts of themselves, but also help them to reflect on the opportunities that they have too. Right. And so when you talk about being able to give people credit, my thing is I am going to publicly praise you. And then when we get behind closed doors, I'm be like, so ma'am, can we have a conversation? What happened? What
What was
happened there?
what was
What's happening here? Right? Give you an opportunity for reflection. I there was an incident that happened recently, and there was some material that was put out that did not meet my expectations, and I was like, "What's happening?" So it was a public praise of thank y'all for showing up. I appreciate y'all being here. And I was like, no, when we get a chance, let's connect. And they're like, yeah. So we come to space. I was like, what happened here? Talk me through this. What talk me through this. And so that's important, right? Because one, when you get called to my office, I don't want people to feel like, oh Lord, I'm in the principal's office, because I need you to open up and talk to me, so I can help figure out how we get to the next point. But I think the other thing too is I need people to feel comfortable enough to be honest and
Right.
say, well, I thought this was amazing. Tell me why. Well, this is all I ever known. Oh, so this is a reflection of limited experiences.
Mhm.
Now I know, let me expose you to some other opportunities, right?
Right.
And so, we need people to be honest with us. And so, I really, now they also know when Dr. Sills is mad too. They be like, yeah, you probably, today ain't the day, y'all. It ain't the day. Pick
Do it.
another day. It ain't the day.
Do not do it today. But I love that. Well, as a former school principal, I would like to speak for all the principals, um, at least my portion of the principal circles. We don't always want it to be like you came to the principal's office, because we always get that dig, like you went to the principal's office. And I am
Right.
happy to say that my mother used to call my office the teacher's lounge. There were always teachers in my office. I mean, they had time off. They were coming in. We were discussing things, but I also made it an environment where if you need your daily M&M fix, it was there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we had
Mm-hmm.
all the varieties of M&Ms, and some people
Mm-hmm.
would take whole jars. I knew they were having a bad day. And as long as they refilled that jar when they bought it back, I was fine with you taking the rest of the jar. Do what you do. Um, but it is creating that space where people can come in and say, I need to close the door, Dr. Webb, we need to have this
Mm-hmm.
conversation with me. I remember
Mm-hmm.
having teachers come in and say, do you trust us? If you do, could you let us do some stuff?
Mhm, mhm,
Where they set me down in my own office, but then also
mhm,
where they feel comfortable, Dr. Webb, I am having the worst day of my life right now. I
mhm,
need somebody to talk to. And a lot of times I was like, yes, and you also apparently need a class period. I
mm,
found somebody to do coverage for you. Please go get a coffee
mhm.
or
Well,
just go sit in your car and scream.
I think too, and also so I'll tell my team, I am not above reproach.
Right.
I am striving for reflection, not perfection. Okay. And so I need to make sure that they have the space. Now, I think it's all about the way you say it. So don't come up my office and be
Absolutely.
like, well, Dr. Sills, I'm like, and redesign the approach. But I want my team to be able to say, I heard you talking and I don't agree with this, or I have questions about this, or can we do this different? Right? I'm not the person with all the ideas, right? And I need people to come and tell me if I've delivered something that didn't resonate well. Then I need to make some adjustments, right? Because then that means I was not hitting on the mark. So, I think leaders that are willing to hear appropriate feedback, that's clutch.
Yes.
That's
It
clutch.
will make it go into the idea of building teams that thrive. I think leaders need to also remember they are part of that team.
Mhm.
You're not just the leader of the team. You are a member
That's right.
of the team. And in order for you to truly be a part of the team has to be willing and able to speak to you. And now,
Mhm.
of course, like you said, the way communication is delivered makes
Mhm.
all the difference. And that's on both sides of the coin.
That's right.
But you have to be a part of the team in order for the team to truly thrive, or there's a team thriving without you.
Hello, my loves. I have a new book coming out. Take the time and go ahead and pre order yours. It's called Village Minded and it's going to be a game changer. Don't miss out. Order yours today.
That's right. That's what I think most people think, that the team can't go on without the leader. Oh, yes, they can. You know, one person doesn't stop the show.
Right.
One
And that
person
includes
doesn't
the
stop the
leader.
show. And that includes the leader. And people will find themselves, if they need a fresh start, they will find themselves a new leader, whether it's one by one or collectively. And so, I think people have to be reflective of that too. If you want the team to thrive, you're going to have to be a part of the team and whatever
Right.
that role looks like. Hmm.
Absolutely. So let's go within that. So we talk about the team thriving, we talk about the leader being a part of the team, but then also the idea that this leader is working with individuals to help them get to their greatest self so that the team can thrive. Because when individuals are great, the team can be great.
Hmm.
And this idea of mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sometimes the leaders always feel like they have to be the person who's the mentor. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily so.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you have been navigating your leadership journey through this executive leadership position and any other, how have you found the best ways for you to find mentors for your team members?
Yeah. So, people oftentimes ask for mentorship, and a lot of times they come to me, right? I've had a number of people come to me, Dr. Sills, you be my mentor. And I have to respectfully decline sometimes because one, mentorship is a relationship. So you're asking to be in a mutual relationship with me. And one, I may not have capacity to do that, which means that if I don't have time to date you, ain't no sense of us getting together, right? And so, I'm really thoughtful about who I say yes to for mentorship because of those reasons. But I am always, again, about that leadership being a connector. I'm always looking for opportunities to connect people. So there is someone from my past that I grew up with back home in Jersey, and they're looking for some career opportunities. And for some advice, and there's only so much that I can do. But I certainly have said, you know what, I got a couple people I'm thinking about that would be great to connect you to, and so I'm making those connections for them. So I think a good leader is kind of always keeping this mental Rolodex of options and opportunities, right? Not for me, but for the next person. And so if I'm engaging with somebody, it is not necessarily for my benefit, but I'm thinking about, who can I connect you with? Who can I get you engaged with? Who can I network you with? Who can network with you so that they have the opportunity to experience this? I think sometimes I'm challenging and pushing back on people that ask for mentorship that don't need mentorship, but you need sponsorship. You don't
Mm,
need someone to develop you. You need somebody to speak your name in the room and say, Renita, you need somebody, call Renita. Call
mhm.
Renita. Because you don't need mentorship. And so I think people have to understand that too. What do they need? And so sometimes I'm starting out with what is it that you're looking to get out of mentorship? Because when they start unpacking those layers, I'm like, oh no, you don't need a mentor. You need an advocate,
Mhm.
right? You need a prayer partner. You know, you need a new supervisor.
Mm,
Right. And so really giving feedback about that. So I think mentorship is important. I don't think we ever outgrow mentorship. I've got, a couple of people that I'm in a mentorship relationship with that are mentoring me. And it's not an everyday thing, but it's I call them my personal executive board. Got a
uh-huh.
couple people on my personal executive board that I go to these people for these things that I'm like, hey, I got a life situation happening, a work situation. Let me just tap into the executive board and then I get some feedback, right? And the thing that's clutch about the executive board is they got to be honest with you.
Right.
They are raw honest. They are like, yeah, I see where you're trying to go with that. I'm gonna tell you that's an epic fail. Let me tell you why. And I'll be like, oh, do tell. Or they'll be like, yeah, you're doing too much with that. Mm-mm. Or they'll be like, that is absolutely amazing. Push it, push it. And let me
Right.
tell you why. So, I think when people are asking for mentors, they really need to understand what is it that they're trying to get out of it at the end and understand, is a mentor what you need to achieve that, or is it something else? Is there a different kind of relationship that you need with somebody?
Yeah, and I love the definition breakdowns. Like you need a mentor, you need a sponsor, you need an advocate, you need a prayer partner, you need a new supervisor. Like really breaking down the ideas and the importance of that first conversation
Hmm.
and honesty. If you can be honest in what you need, then you can more likely get to what you really the resource that you need to succeed.
Hmm.
That personal executive board, I do have a few members of mine as well, and I love talking to them and getting their who now Renita. Like
Hmm.
because it is very rare that these people call me Doctor anything, which is
Hmm.
great. I need that circle of people who sometimes even forget that I have a doctorate degree. Like, ma'am.
Hmm.
Sometimes
To
that's
get,
the whole conversation, ma'am.
to get you all the way together, ma'am.
Right, gathered right in that moment, ma'am.
Hmm.
I love the clip of Kiki Palmer and Yvette Nicole Brown where they are on Password and they have that black female conversation. And all Kiki says, is Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, and it's also going around right now, like on different social media,
Yes,
like
and it's well understood.
it is. It amazes me how much, and it tickles me. I can watch it and know every single word that was said.
Yeah.
And so that cultural piece, being in your environment and in your circles, having that person who can gather you up and
Mm-hmm.
get you going in the right direction, even if that direction is the direction you're going, maybe just going more aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, I love that ideal, but a lot of it comes from that relationship piece, truly
Mm-hmm.
building relationship and community
Yep.
with other people. This idea of networking, I
Mm-hmm.
think that is something that is not focused on as much as it used to be. It used to be a time where, honey, networking and networking events were all the rage. Everybody was doing a networking event. What are you doing? I'm coming here to network. I'm going to make sure I have my business card. Nowadays, it's like, do you have your blink or your popple or your dot or whatever? And you better have a QR code at the ready.
Girl, you better
Oh,
be ready to tap and connect.
or have a business card. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they are not completely obsolete. Like, it can be a both and.
Yeah.
But the art of connecting with other people and hearing them and speaking to them, it's something that I don't know that enough people know how to do, who want to be mobile in whatever they're
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that you have to leave your job, not saying that you are, doing this mass exodus of anything. It is that you're being mobile, even within where the space where you are. It's taking away that stagnation, taking away that complacency, and allowing you to move and shake, even in maybe a horizontal fashion and not even a vertical one. But the idea of networking and connecting and using that
Mm-hmm.
to then help other people to get to what they need. It's like you're running your own personal human resource department, just not on an official scale.
Well, and networking is really about relationship building, right? I think sometimes people get overwhelmed about the concept of, now I got a network. Really, you're building a relationship, and really what you're doing is you're having a series of conversations. I will tell you, I look and reflect on the workforce and where some people are, and I think communication is one of the places that folks tend to struggle, articulating thoughts and feelings and things like that. And so I think people need to get into a space where they're able to practice that and find a place of comfort, because the more you're able to communicate, the better relationships you're able to build, the more your networking then improves, and the more opportunities that you create. But you've got to speak it. You've got
Mhm.
to be able to articulate it. You've got to be able to put it out there in ways that people can grab on and make sense. And this doesn't mean you got to have an 11-second elevator speech, or you've got to be able to deliver on a platform for 60 minutes. But it does mean that you need to be able to say whatever is in here and in here, that it connects to the next person over there. Relationships matter. Right. I have a lot of good friends that say that, but relationships matter. And I have a lot of relationships that aren't great, but they are sustainable,
Right.
right? Because the we agree to disagree, we don't have the same views, but the relationship is sustainable because we've got good communication, right? And that makes a world of difference. But I think that's where the divide exists for some people, is the struggle in communication and moving through the conflicts from the lack of communication.
Oh, miscommunication is the source of a lot of things,
Girl.
and it is rarely to never anything good.
Hmm.
um, and it is easy to fall into when you don't know how to use your words. And
Hmm.
I, I talk to my 7-year-old all the time, like, baby, I need you to use your words. What are
Hmm.
you trying to tell me here? I
Hmm.
can't help. I offered you some chips because I thought that's what we were talking about. You don't want chips. What did you want? Oh, you wanted a nap. You're tired.
Right. Right.
But this whininess was giving chip vibes. I need
Mhm.
you to learn how to use your words, and
Mhm.
I think people need to remember that communication is more than just your words. It is your words, and you need to learn how to use those effectively. But what you say and how you act are going
Mhm.
to tell me what you're really trying to tell me.
That's right. That's right. I think when people show up as who they are, you have to believe them,
Mhm.
because your authenticity comes out at some point. Who you
Right.
really are shows up, right?
And
Mhm.
different. places and spaces. Maya Angelou genius.
Mm-hmm.
People show you who they are, believe them.
Mm-hmm.
I am definitely, I ascribe to that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I wish that people did have more opportunity at earlier ages to really learn how to speak to and connect with each other authentically and in deep ways. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's this idea of like going from somebody I met to my friend,
Mm-hmm.
and learning different language for different relationships in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
so,
see, let me pause you here.
uh,
People that do that well are in tune with the world. And I'm gonna tell you, you can't make those types of different connections if you are not in tune with people
right,
and authentically listening and engaging with people. You can't show surface level. You will miss the boat. You will miss it. You've got to be authentically in tune with what is happening with people individually and it's a lot. I ain't gonna, especially if you in leadership. I have 41 different people on my team, and I am authentically in tune with what is happening with each one of my team members, right? Now, it is not always at the same pace as the next person, but I know what you got going on. I know what you got. I know what's happening here. I know what's right. And you got to be. Now, I can't do that for the campus as big as we have, right? I can't, but you've got to be authentically in tune with what the people are saying. You can't be up here. Your title may put you up here, but you got to be right here eye to eye with people, to understand what is happening.
right, coming out of that ivory tower of
Hmm.
leadership
Hmm.
and coming down, come on down
Hmm.
the steps, people,
Hmm.
and get amongst the people. How can you serve people that you know nothing about?
Right.
How can you help people you don't know anything about? It's just like the child who needed a nap versus the chips. I'm going
Hmm.
to give you chips because that's what I assumed that you needed. But if I had really been in there, oh, never mind. Go,
Hmm.
go lay down. Take a shower this
Go and
morning.
take a nap. Should take a nap because it's too much.
You're done. You're done. It's okay. Go,
Hmm.
go, go.
Hmm.
Fight with the nap, but go ahead and take
Don't
it.
fight with me.
Don't fight me. Just don't
Yes.
take
Yes.
it. And you know, communication and relationships do go hand in hand, and you can
Hmm.
ruin good relationships with poor communication, and that is every
Hmm.
type
Hmm.
of relationship. And then you'll find whatever kind of teaming you were in,
Hmm. Hmm.
it will crumble
Hmm.
because you missed that important part, the
Hmm.
the relationship itself and communicating within it.
Yeah. So I think communication, to make an analogy, is kind of like cooking. Everybody's got a favorite dish that they make or something they cook well, but there's no way you do it exactly the same every single time.
Right.
There's just no way. It's physically impossible. You may have the same ingredients, you may have the same time frame, but there's just no way you do it exactly the same. And so I say that because you have a communication style that has components, ingredients to it that you have learned to develop into the right kind of recipe that people come to love. From time to time, you have to adjust it.
Right.
You like, everybody don't like this spicy I be bringing. It's sometimes too, everybody doesn't like that soft, sweet approach, right? And so you have to figure out ways that you kind of tweak it, so you can get the message through. Because if you miss the opportunity to adjust your communication, you miss the opportunity to deliver the message, which inevitably means you might have missed the opportunity to fulfill your purpose. Because if that message was designed for you to deliver and you're not delivering it right, you may have faltered on your purpose in that moment.
And so many people get afraid to do that. Like some people, it gets to this whole idea of code switching and things like that for different people and think that that makes them inauthentic.
Hmm.
That's not true. You're still being true to you. You're
Hmm.
just making it, I won't even say palatable because sometimes that does, take all your flavor away. But
Child.
but you do make it receivable.
Digestible, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and so yes, I think there are tenets of code switching that have definitely made um, people in different communities, particularly Black women, feel some kind of way, right? Where we've got to pivot. But we pivot all the time. We code switch all the time. How I talk to my husband is not how I talk to my kids. That's a code switch right there, right?
Right.
And how I talk to my leadership team might be different than how I talk to my staff or how I talk to my boss. But it's really about being able to adapt to the audience. How flexible are you about being able to adapt to the audience that you're speaking to?
Right. Right. It's about adapting. It's not about dropping yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
do not have to drop who you are to
Mm-hmm.
make your message receivable to different people, because different
Mm-hmm.
people need to hear it. But and
Mm-hmm.
also make sure that those are the people who need to hear it. If you absolutely cannot be you at all, that means that maybe you aren't the person to deliver that message. Maybe it needs to go to somebody else, and be honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
not you. Maybe it's just not you. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is so okay. And that will lead us right into the next part of this discussion, thinking about the idea of succession planning.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you are no longer the one,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes you are the one for something else, and you cannot effectively go do
Mm-hmm.
that other thing if you continuously hold on to the thing you've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're thinking about and you're helping instill succession plan, this idea into your team, into your group, into your life,
Mm-hmm.
how have you gone about it?
So, I think when you talk about how do I instill succession planning, one, I'm a person that likes to play the long game. I believe in trying to help people see where they have opportunities for development, where they have opportunities for growth, and where I can support, connect, resource them to make a deeper investment. Because my succession plan is really part of a bigger opportunity for you to grow wherever you are planted. So I was having a conversation with a leader on my team today about this topic and about how I see them as a part of our succession plan. And, they appreciated hearing that, but they're like, I got some things in mind and I don't know that I want to be committed and do. And I said, well, I'm not offering you a job right now, right? That's not what's happening. What I'm saying is I'd like to pour into you that whether you are here, it serves you well, or when you leave, it serves you well. So I think good leadership is not selfish, right? I am not a leader that's going to say, "Oh, you plan to leave me? And how many years you going to leave?" Mm-mm. I ain't pouring into you. Well, here's the thing about it. If you care about people, you want to pour into them wherever you can, because if it's not you that they're working with and serving under, they're going to work with and serve under someone else. And what they do there will in part be a reflection of what their time was with you. But also, you don't know where they'll land and who they be serving. One day they may be serving you.
Right.
They may be serving your child in the university. So you don't know. So go ahead and pour, because everything that you're pouring into somebody is hopefully designed to help them wherever they are going into the next field, right? And so we can't get selfish about developing people.
Hello, I am Dr. Renita
Ready to not only be poured into, but to also pour out today. Doing our best, our very best, to be on time. Hello, somebody can we say on time?
You had a moment where you had something that was given to you that you thought was your gift, and you found out it was for everybody.
And I remember Sister Vanessa went with her friends to Baltimore to see the wretch. At that time, I didn't know what the wretch was. I didn't know what wretch meant, but I knew she shouldn't have been there.
To learn how to have those feelings and to crank up those emotions within you to say, oh, that really wasn't right.
I didn't better in my car than I do in my shower, but that means no. The only thing better in my car would have just be in the car. Unless my jam comes on, then I don't care who's in the car. We're going to take them out for you.
Now, with that being said, I can't want more for you than you want for yourself either.
Yes, indeed.
I have some limitations on my push and pull, right? So, my oftentimes my job in terms of succession planning is encouraging you to see, if encouraging you to see yourself in a different place and space, right? That you things that you might not have even realized that you could do, right? Do you know that you have the opportunity to XYZ? And I think it's about pushing people into those spaces to develop. My team says, well, I wanna be an HR, director, HR manager. And I'm like, okay, and then what? I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And then what? And then what? After that, after you achieve that, what's next, right? Or it's helping them to see that upper opportunities exist. I mean, we do it with our kids. My daughter, she says, I want to be a teacher. And I'm like, oh, okay. Have you ever thought about being a provost? She's like, what's a provost? I'm like, I love teachers. Many provosts started out as teachers, right? As educators. But did you know but she wants to be a teacher because all she is with right now are teachers,
Right.
right? And so it's also succession planning is about exposing people to opportunities. So with that, I've had a member of my team who let me know out the gate. They like, I want to be a CHRO. Like that's in the long-term plan. I was like, all right, we got a couple things we're going to work on here. And so you've got certain skills already in place. Actually, my whole role here is to just expose you to opportunities, expose you to places to put those skills to work. In 2 years, they've become a CHRO. Not because of anything I did. They already had the skill set. They needed the exposure. And part of the succession planning was to recognize, what do people need? Did you need a mentor? She needed a mentor. She wanted, okay. Did you need an advocate? Did you need somebody to call your name in the space? So what did you need? And recognizing and understanding people's individual needs as part of their succession planning. That's important, right?
And I love it. I love that these are individuals, even your daughter, who can call something into the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to have a person as a part of a plan, whether it be your plan or their own personal succession plan, because you can call into the future. It's one of those leadership skills, which is this vision. You've
Mm-hmm.
got to see beyond this.
That's right.
It is so much more than this. Succession planning cannot happen when all you see is this.
Mm-hmm.
All you want is this. Your desire is this. You refuse to see anything else.
It's a growth mindset. It's about having a growth mindset. And
And
that takes some development too. Everybody is not there. Everybody can't see growth, right? Because sometimes they've just had limitations. Sometimes they've been hurt. Sometimes they told that they can't. It's impossible. And so part of succession planning is helping people see the possibilities. That's a part of that visioning, is helping people see the possibilities, right? And so when I have the opportunity to work with teams and groups, I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna come here and tell you anything you don't already. Oh, Dr. says you have all these degrees and that, can you listen, I'm not telling you nothing you don't already know and you can't look up in a book. But let me tell you about some of the possibilities, right? And let's envision, right? Sometimes that stuff is just motivating enough, because sometimes people just haven't had a chance to see it or see themselves, or nobody has believed in them for greater.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they saw it and they lost. They suppressed the vision because
Mm-hmm.
nobody supported them.
Mm-hmm. And
And
so
also, you can't.
let me land there for a second, right? I think having a mentor, advocate, support, whatever it is important. One of the things I tell my team, especially my younger professionals, is you don't need anybody to reaffirm you to do what you've been called to do. If you know that you have been called to do something, to operate in a purpose, you don't need my affirmation, because that purpose comes from a higher calling. So you don't need a second on me from that motion. That comes from, as I say in my parliamentarian work, it comes from a committee and does not require a second. And I think too often people are looking for approval and affirmation. Oh, if it has been laid in your heart and your mind, and that is what you have been called to do, do it. Sometimes we spend too much time fighting our own selves, when really we just need to go ahead and do what we are supposed to do. Focus on doing what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely. And be confident in it. I think lack of confidence is part of the reason why people are looking for the amen corner.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have any confidence. Like you don't even believe that you can really do what you know you've been told. Like everything in your Shanana has said. This is it. This is this right there.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is said it. You know you've been called. The still soft voices whispered. You've had 17 dreams about it, but you have no confidence in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, you still are like, well, Dr. Sills, I've been thinking about the possibility of, or homeboy, homegirl, I've been thinking about the possibility, or mama, daddy. I'm gonna tell you folks right now, you will be messed up waiting for your family to support you or something. You will be messed up, lacking, wondering why. A lot of times your family is not going to be the one.
No.
They're not going to buy the stuff from your business. They're not going to tell you that, yes, you can. They are not going to tell you to, yeah, take that risk. They don't see it. They don't get it. Your vision was given to you.
That's right. So let me lean into that for a second. So we moved here from New Jersey in 2012. And my husband and I had only been married a couple of years. Our son was only 5 or 6 at the time. And we had this big idea to move to North Carolina.
So glad you came.
And likewise. We both had jobs. We were working, we had full-time, decent paying jobs. We had a little house, picket fence, all of the American dream, 1.1 kid, right? 1.5 kid. But we were doing all the things, and we had made a decision in congruency with what we have been, what we have been led to do, that it was time to move. And our family was like, why are you gonna move? People in North Carolina don't make no money. The whole state is poor. Why are you going to leave your whole family? Aren't y'all going to be scared down there by yourself? Y'all going to get lost? You know they got the Klan in the South. Like everything. And I was like, but, and so let me tell you, if you operate on that fear like we had done, like we had thought we were about to do, because we got fearful. So we got down there, and I'll say this, and for anybody it's encouraging to, we had struggled on getting pregnant the second time. And so there was just so much stress in camping us. And so we moved down to North Carolina and turned around and got pregnant. I was like, nope, wasn't planning that. We got to go back, because I don't know none of these people. We got to go back. And we went back, and we felt out of place in just 2 months. We felt out of place. And so my husband was like, if we committed to go to North Carolina, we got to go to North Carolina. And we found our way there. And I will tell you, the Lord bless us double for the trouble, because we have just been favored time after time, everything that we lost. And when I say we lost, we went from 2 thriving full-time jobs to one $10,000 graduate assistantship. And the Lord has restored us 100 times over, right? But if we would have listened to our well-intended, very loving family, we would still be right where we are. And I'm not going to tell you we wouldn't have been successful. I'm not going to tell you we would not have had a good life. It wouldn't have been this life. It wouldn't have been what this has come to be, right? And so I agree with you. You cannot let family and those who are not in line with the vision block it.
Right.
You can't. They be trying to shade you because they care for you, but you can't let them get in the way. And now I'm not saying be stupid.
There's a line.
There's a line, right? Like we had a plan, right? And we made some hiccups along the way, but you have got to, if you have bought into it, you've got to see it through.
Right. And we could literally go on for 88 days on this alone. But I think that brings back this idea of getting people around you, because when I met you through a mutual friend, and at that point I did not know you, but I knew you because this person was so ingrained into your family, who was here at that time. So I'm still trying to get back. I'm selfish.
Amen.
Still trying to get back. But when you got here, you all started at some point in time, and if you can tell me about that, creating this village of new people when you knew no one. How did you go about that? Because that ended up being a part of your succession plan.
hmm Yeah, so I think one, again, when you live a purpose-filled life, those pieces are designed to come together. I think when you are genuinely good people like and attract good people,
Mhm.
right? And I'm grateful that my husband and I are good people, right? And so good people want to be with other good people. I think the other piece is you develop the ability to discern the type of people that you need to be with. There are some people we've cut ties with. We're like, they can't be on the team. They can't be on a team. And there's other people. And you get to a place where you respect the seasons of your relationships, right? You can't let a season go on longer. Sometimes a season's a lifetime, sometimes it's a couple months, sometimes it's a brief interaction, and you can't demand that the season be there longer than it can, right? And sometimes the season needs a cycle. And so that relationship that you're talking about, it has had its season, and then the season comes back, and then right, and so but we allow it to flow, right? And I think that has been one of the things that's most pivotal, right? But it still remains a foundational relationship that's there, and it's a good relationship, right? So we have respected the season. That is not a relationship that I can be like, I demand that this season be here right now, because they're gonna be like, mm-mm. And you're gonna get your feelings hurt.
Quick.
As the kids say, mess around and find out you're gonna get your feelings hurt. So you got to let the seasons be the seasons. And then I'll say this, because we're talking about so much. We need more time. We need more time. I think you have to respect people and where they are, right? So you can't be selfish, you have to be selfless, right? And I think when you talk about succession planning, it can't all be about me. It has to have an opportunity to be about other people and the opportunity to see them do a wonderful thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, if imparting, you
hmm
had to give one thing, just one,
hmm
that connects to this idea of building teams that thrive and the art of mentorship and succession planning, what is one thing you don't want people to forget?
The importance of being authentic and authentically caring about other people.
Mm,
It doesn't matter whether you are a team lead or a team contributor, if you forget the opportunity to genuinely and authentically care about other people, you're going to start missing the mark. You lose your North Star.
I love it. I love it. So, if they would like to be in contact with or find or get more wisdom from Dr. Seals,
hmm
how can they find you?
The best way is to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Come
Veronica
on.
Veronica Thomas Sills. I haven't caught up with the generations that's all over the TikToks and Instagrams. I gotta get like you, Dr. Renita. I gotta get like you. But connect with me on LinkedIn. It's a great place, and it's the easiest place for me to connect folks with other folks in different spaces and industries and places. So I would just say to reach out to me on LinkedIn and just say you heard about building teams that thrive with Dr. Webb and Dr. Sills, and you want to connect, and I'd love to do that.
Awesome. Well, I love you with the
Yeah.
dearest parts of my soul. I
We
love you so
travel buddies. We
Yes, we
locked
are.
in. We locked
Hello.
in.
Our
Yeah,
trip
when
up.
we made that return trip in the dark, like we was with Ichabod Crane, and I was like, "There's too much fog to survive these Virginia mountains." We locked. We listen. We that
Woo!
was quite a weekend that we had.
It was. We are there, honey. Well, I love you. Thank you so much for being with me on Leadership Live. Everybody out there, I'll be with a new friend next time. But know that I love you and always, always, always keep your leadership all the way live. See you next week. Bye.